Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Sumaya, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And happy holidays to you. Do you see what's behind me here? Can you see that? That is my Santa Claus inside my house. And also, I'm right by my fireplace here. Can you see that? That's my pellet stove there, keeping the house warm during the winter time. Okay, let's get to your question. I won't bore you anymore with all my stuff. Okay, the main thing is you have some questions about TOEFL speaking.
Hi, teacher.
Listen to them.
I have a few questions that I want to ask you.
All right.
In the independent speaking, there's a lot of questions that I really don't know how to answer it. I have no idea.
Let me go back to what you just said here. Hold on.
That I really don't know how to answer it. I have no idea about it. In the independent speaking, there's a lot of questions that I
would say there are a lot of questions there. You're kind of using a lot of questions as your subject, so that's plural. All right.
I really don't know how to answer it. I have no idea about it. So what are your recommendation for me? How can we answer, like if I go to the TOEFL test and then I have this question that I really don't know how to answer it. So
Okay, so hopefully that will not happen, but if you come across something and you feel like you don't have any personal experience to answer that, my recommendation is to make it up. Imagine an answer, right? So let's just say that it says, what do you think is more fascinating, being a pilot or an accountant? Well, maybe you're not a pilot, maybe you're not an accountant. So you just have to imagine that situation. Accountants typically work with companies. They're probably inside working on a computer a lot. An airplane pilot, on the other hand, will be flying a commercial jet airliner with 200 or 300 passengers. You have to imagine, what situation you think you would like better. So that's part of my advice, is to be creative.
Recommendation. And another thing, when I'm sending...
Okay, let me turn off the Santa Claus here. Give me a quick second here. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to unplug this. Okay, here we go. It's making too much noise. I want to make sure I can hear what you're saying. Okay, let's go back to your...
You practiced independent speaking. I'm choosing the one that I can maybe know, maybe one reason and one example, and a lot of them I just make up the example. It doesn't really happen with me. So
that's okay. It doesn't matter. If the example has not happened in real life, who cares? But use some examples to illustrate the points you're trying to make.
Yeah, so how can I bring another reason and another example in the question that maybe I have just one thing to say?
Use your imagination. That's probably the best advice I can give you, is to be creative.
And the last thing, that in the integrated speaking and the independent speaking, when we are practicing, to take our time to prepare and make good notes, even if we heard the lecture many times, and then maybe we write it down, and when we want to send it to you, we read it in a good way, so if there's any mistake we can make a correction.
Okay.
Then after maybe 10 or 15 practice tests, then we can do it like if we are in the real TOEFL exam.
Right.
So hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so I think what you're asking me here is as you're doing your speaking practice with your independent and integrated tasks, in the beginning it takes you much longer than the preparation time that you're normally given. For example, for the independent speaking task, you're usually given about 15 seconds to prepare your response. You're telling me that it takes you much longer to prepare your response in 15 seconds, right? And then maybe with the integrated speaking task, you're usually given 20 to 30 seconds of preparation time, but you're taking much longer time than that. And you're saying that maybe after 15 or 20 speaking practice tests, finally, you can answer the question given maybe the 15, 20, or the 30-second preparation time. You're able to do it eventually, but you can't do it in the beginning, right? And that's okay. I have no problem with that. In fact, take 5 minutes if you need it right now. But make sure your response is organized, it's adequately developed, it has a pretty good level of polish with your grammar and your vocabulary, right? And you show clear connection of your ideas. You want to practice all these good habits: good delivery, good language use, good topic development. Practice these 3 good habits. No matter how long it takes you right now, make sure you're doing well in those 3 categories. Eventually, you can reduce your preparation time until you have, the recommended time that the TOEFL is giving you. Okay, so now the other question you didn't ask me, but the real question here is, how do I improve my creativity and my imagination so I can come up with ideas during the independent speaking and writing tasks, right? So part of this is you need to increase your exposure to different types of things happening around you. So I think reading newspapers is a good idea, because newspapers, you can read about different events and things happening around the world and in your country and in the United States or wherever you might be. And then when you're doing your speaking and writing practice, you can draw on some of these things to help you support your ideas. So you need to put yourself in a position where you're getting a lot of exposure, maybe reading newspapers, you can watch news, you can listen to the radio, again, news channels. Pay attention to what's happening around you, and you can use a lot of these ideas for your speaking and your writing practice. And remember to be creative. You know, at my website at stealth.michaelbuckoff.com, I have over 300 different speaking topics there. You can practice going through those topics, and then you may go to topic number 201, for example. Look at what the speaking prompt is, and then see if you can create or imagine maybe 2 or 3 ideas or 2 or 3 examples to help you answer that question. So maybe each day take 3 or 4 of those topics, and then practice coming up with reasons and details to help answer those questions. And that can help you learn to be more creative. Because on the TOEFL, you have to think about these ideas very quickly. You don't have a lot of time, so you have to be very, very fast in coming up with these points. All right, so that can also help you, I think, with your speaking. All righty, and have a good day.